Wonder if I should be adding commentary here. You know what? This video is already a catastrophe. Let's do it, guys. Let's do it. You just gotta do it. Sorry about the whole thing with the camera. Pain. I don't have like an actual tripod. I'm actually I just have two books that I'm stacking on top of each other. This seems to work. It doesn't give as good of a view for the audience though, which I'm kind of mad about. It does give you an entire view of what's going on, but it is still, like, it was much more high res. I feel like you could see more detail, and the lighting was much better on the other part. But I actually couldn't, like, what would happen is it would look good on camera, but then I couldn't see anything, so you could see, like, me trying to get better lighting and whatever. So hopefully this is a happy medium of I can work, and you can watch. Because having poor lighting was, at least on my end, because of how the light worked, was giving me a headache. I tried reversing my other book stand. I wasn't doing it in this particular fashion, how I'm doing it now, which is open book, which you can see on the side. It was stacked. It was actually a lot of D&D manuals stacked on top of each other. Now, I'm new to this. I don't do videos. Well, this is my third video. Obviously, I'm new to this because I didn't even do my other stuff right. Don't even got a setup or a tripod or anything. I guess this works fine for now, though. It's simple. Gotta love YouTube for having things of this sort. Man. Hopefully yeah, it's recording. If someone calls, I'm doing this on an iPhone, because, again, first time, no need to get too fancy. If it gets a bit more popular, then maybe I'll go and splurge a little. But for right now, there's no need. It's not necessary. Good to keep it simple. But yeah, when someone calls, it stops the video entirely. So, there were a lot of interruptions during this video. What happened was, somebody called, and then I was getting a headache because I couldn't, pretty much, it's like reading in the dark. I couldn't look at the work. I couldn't look at what I was coloring. So was like, okay, I can't do videos like this, so I had to improvise, and it left me with this little setup here. Some other girl who seems like she is quite popular on the interwebs was doing it with this particular setup. She says that this is what she usually uses, and that it's only when sometimes she knocks it. So, but I think this is way better, because then I can try to make better quality work. because what happens is I can't really look at the lines, especially a lot of the, you'll see me touch up a lot on there because I can't really do the work quite well. I can't see a lot of the fray lines, as I call them, like the slop lines. Still kind of doing it now, but I feel like I noticed it a bit more doing it then. Now this is a goat alpaca, not alpaca. I'm gonna say it's a goat girl. Kind of wish that there was a goat race in D&D that wasn't, you know, like a playable. Because I certainly do like different creatures and such. This one I would think is, you know, mountains, because it's a goat. I picture with a little bit of a European feel, like in the sweet Swiss or German mountains, jumping around. I would say that the race would probably be mostly good, because that's, you know, they're goats. Goats get a bad rap, so I'm gonna make them chaotic good. I'll say they have a dex of perhaps, I'm gonna say they have a dex of 2, and that different varieties can have different ones, like perhaps like some of the bigger subspecies could have a +1 to Constitution. Actually, this seems like the kind of race that would probably have the +2s to the sub-races, and then the like a +1 to maybe Dex as the overall. So we'll say +1 to Dex as an overall. +1 to Dex, and then I'll have another set that has +1 to Dex, and then a +1 to Wisdom as well. So it'll repeat the Dex, so it pretty much gets a +1. Pretty much gets a +1 in Wisdom and a +2 in Dex. As weird as that sounds, but you know, I guess it works. Things work sometimes. Kind of awkward, but reminds me of like kind of like the Triton race, which was a little kind of bit on the awkward side of the ability scores. The ability scores were like +1 to Strength, +1 to Wisdom, and +1 to Constitution, which to my knowledge doesn't, it makes it so it can adapt to more classes, but also makes it so it isn't like a preferred to any either. So like some races seem like they were made for particular classes. Like Tiefling, like you're like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna use it as a warlock. What else am I gonna use it for? But like a Triton, I feel like is almost just been made like, oh, you during a water campaign, use a Triton. I think that's pretty much what they were made for. Because, I mean, what else are you going to use that's, like, really adapted to water other than... I guess you could use a druid, and there are some spells that make you breathe water. But, like, for someone who had, like, a armor or whatever, it would be hard. Like a fighter. So yeah, what I would do, or what it seemed, yeah, Tritons are a bit hard. I feel like they would make good fighters though, because technically a +2 Wisdom is always kind of nice. Because what you can do is you can pretty much add it to whatever, but pretty much they just, I think they're like, you can use them, but you just have to be kind of, you know, you gotta work with the build a little bit more. I'm not a very good D&D person, like I'm not like, well, actually, you know, I don't know many of the rules. I'm especially terrible with spells and spell slots, like, those confuse the heck out of me. But, yeah. I'm actually going to be a tiefling, neutral, evil, warlock in a campaign I'm doing with some friends. So hopefully I learn a little bit about spells, because I know that their spells, it's not as complicated as, let's say, a wizard, but you still kind of learn the process, so I can use a wizard later on, since I kind of like the idea of a nerdy character, but handling a wizard is very hard at points, because you pretty much, you decide your spells every day, which gets a little cumbersome after a while, to say the least, from what I've heard. Again, I'm not a professional. I don't think there's really professional D&D players, but I'm not a professional. I do it as a hobby. I like it just because it's like fantasy. I love world building. I mostly use 5e. I find I do look up a lot of the Pathfinder has a lot more stuff, like more, because pretty much it's been around for a while, and like they don't like need to really adjust much for stuff. So they have like right now, actually one of the books that's supporting this is a Pathfinder Bestiary 6. So they have way more stuff. Whereas 5e, I would call it the Pocket Edition, because it seems like there's less like high challenge rating sort of things from what I've gathered. The challenge ratings seem to be much like lower in 5e. So I think that's because, again, it's like a pocket edition. Like, you can do it you can set up your character much more quickly in, what's it called, in the 5e than you can with Pathfinder. I feel like Pathfinder's for, like,